Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest. Time to do one of my favorite types of videos, if not the favorite type of video I do, and that is a technical update on 5 individual companies on the ASX. So I will be looking at individual charts for all these 5 companies. Now, I decided to do a technical update without knowing which companies I was going to include in this update. And then I really honed in on a few lithium companies, including core lithium, because we have seen share prices of these companies pull back a fair bit over the past few months. And then when I decided to do 2 particular companies, I thought I'd throw in 2 other lithium or electric vehicle based companies. And then right at the end, thought I'd throw in the 5th company, which has nothing to do with lithium or electric vehicles. But I have noticed this company popping up on the most successful companies in terms of price share action on individual days over the past few weeks. So what are these 5 companies I'll be featuring in today's video? The main motivating force for me doing today's video was actually Lake Resources. And then when I looked at Core Lithium's chart, I thought we really need to focus on Core Lithium as well, because these companies are really popular among retail investors. And 2 other very popular companies among retail investors are Magnis Resources and Sayona. I really haven't looked at those charts for these companies for a while, so it was really interesting to see how much the share price has pulled back over the past few months. And the 5th company I thought I'd just throw in there is Polynovo, simply because we have seen some interesting share price action over the past about a month or so. So let's get stuck into the video. And the first company we're going to focus on is Core Lithium. Now onto Core Lithium, looking at the daily chart here, going back to late May 2021, a really interesting chart here with a company's share price in a well-defined uptrend from about late July all the way through to early April of this year. And what I'm looking for in any chart is potential breakouts. And I want to take advantage of potential breakouts. And the breakout for Core Lithium, when you look at this particular chart, is late July of 2021. Share price was hovering around 25 cents for a while. And then we saw the share price move higher on increasing volume. And that increasing volume is very important to drive the share price higher over following months. And the reason behind that is someone in the market was getting excited about this company, and sometimes that excitement can filter through to other participants in the market. So that's how you get hyped up companies. And definitely Core Lithium became a hyped up company from late July of last year. And you can see how that hype played a role in increasing the share price from 25 cents all the way to a high of $1.65 in April of last year. If we didn't have that hype, that increase in interest in the market, the share price wouldn't have increased that much. And that's why it's very important to look at volume. And we definitely saw a massive increase in volume towards the end of last year from what we saw in the start of 2021. But when we did get that high in the share price of $1.65 in early April of this year, we saw a pullback in the share price, which is very healthy. You see this all the time. After an acceleration in the share price, having a pullback is very healthy, and you usually do see that. What you want to see whenever you see a pullback in the share price is decreasing volume. You don't want to see the market get too nervous about the share price dropping. And we have seen that with Core Lithium time and time again. The share price has accelerated, share price pulls back a little bit, and that pullback is on decreasing volume. But when you see the share price starting to increase again, you want to see increasing volume. You want to see the market get excited about the company again. And after we did see the share price pull back in April into May of this year, and then we saw a bit of a rally in the share price, there was no volume in that rally. And that is telling us the market wasn't excited about the share price increasing like it has been in the past year. So that rally was going to fail because there was just no strength in it. And then the share price has decreased a fair bit since then. In fact, the share price has decreased from about $1.40 all the way down to about 85 cents in a fairly short period of time. The other important thing here is how important the 50-day and the 100-day moving average acts as really strong support levels. And anytime the share price of core lithium has moved towards the 50-day or even the 100-day moving average, we have seen buying coming in. So those moving averages act as really good support levels. And over the last 3 trading days, the core lithium share price has fallen on strength below the 100-day moving average. And in fact, the share price in 3 trading days moved from $1.19 all the way to 85 cents. Now, usually you will see, well, potentially you will see fairly high volume when you do see the share price fall like that over 3 consecutive days. But we haven't really seen massive volume come in for core lithium, particularly compared to Lake Resources. And I'll talk about Lake Resources not in the next slide, but in 2 slides' time. So the main thing here I'm looking at is we have seen a bit of sell-off in core lithium, but not on really massive volume. So there's not a lot of conviction in this sell-off of core lithium. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a bounce. And if we do see a bounce, don't be surprised to see the share price move back towards a 100-day moving average or even the 50-day moving average. But because it could be a bit of a shift in sentiment, those moving averages could act as a bit of resistance, and that could be the telltale signs of a shift in trend and a shift in sentiment for core lithium for the medium to long term. And if that does happen, and doesn't mean it will happen, if it does happen, that's going to play out over the next month or 2 months. The other thing I like to look at for most companies is strong support or resistance levels. Sometimes moving averages can act as support resistance, but I also like to look at highs and lows. So if we go back to, say, October, November last year, share price of core lithium reached about 69 cents or about 68 cents and then pulled back. So what we want to see is a share price break above that high. And then we saw the share price of core lithium break above that high of about 68 cents in January of this year on fairly good strength. And when I say fairly good strength, I'm talking about volume. So the breakout was just here. And if you look at the volume, we saw increasing volume during that breakout. And just compare that to how the share price was really just drifting down lower. That was on decreasing volume. That's very healthy. And when the share price broke out, right here, that's where the share price broke out, we saw the share price continue to zoom up over the next 3 or 4 trading days. In fact, the share price went from 68 cents at the breakout all the way to 94 cents. And then we saw the share price pull back, and it tested that now support level at 68 cents. It got very close to 68 cents there, got close here, and then the share price took off again. And we saw the share price actually increase from about 70 cents all the way to that high of $1.65. So that 68 cents support level is a fairly strong support level right now because it has been tested on a couple of occasions. The next support level below 68 cents is around about 50 to 49 cents. And the reason that is a strong support level is if we go back further to September last year, we saw the share price reach about 49 cents and then pull back, and then it broke through 49 cents on fairly good strength in around October, sort of the middle of October. And you can see that really good strength with the volume. Look at that volume there, really high volume as the share price pulled through that resistance level. And of course, once the share price pulls through a resistance level, it then becomes support. So 2 levels of fairly strong support at 68 cents and 48 cents. Current share price is well above that. Wouldn't be surprised to see a bounce before we see these support levels tested over the next few months. Now, just like core lithium, Lake Resources share price has been a really nice uptrend from June of last year. Share price has increased from about, we'll say about 40 cents or so, all the way to a high of about $2.63, which was reached in early April. Exactly the same as core lithium. But the share price of Lake Resources has pulled back a significant amount since that high. In fact, it's fallen from that $2.63 to a current share price of around 80 cents. But you can see the last 3 trading days, the share price of this company has fallen significantly. In fact, it might have almost halved in share price during those 3 trading days. And the other thing, quite a bit different than core lithium, is the massive volume that has come in on these days. And that is actually a fairly bearish signal. Now, there are reasons behind it, including the sudden resignation of the CEO. And apparently, he sold all his shares. So that's one of the reasons why the share price of this company has pulled back a significant amount in the last 3 trading days. It's just really concerning that this decrease in share price coincides with massive volume. So a lot of people, a lot of investors are getting out, whether those are retail investors or institutional investors, it doesn't matter. It's just huge volume. And if this was reversed, and this was a breakout in the share price to the upside on large volume, that would be a very bullish sign, like we have seen in the past, like I showed you with core lithium. You want to see a breakout in the share price coinciding with large volumes to the upside. But when you see it coinciding with large volume to the downside, that can be a bearish signal. So it is not looking good at this point in time for Lake Resources, simply because of the news flow, sudden resignation of the CEO, and the massive volume coming in for this company. Now, what are some of the strong support levels? Maybe not even strong support levels, just support levels for Lake Resources as the share price continues to fall. And I think there is potential share price will fall further from here. The first support level is right on 75 cents. And it does look like there was a little bit of a bounce in previous days, just above 75 cents. So it seems like the market has already tested that support level. And the reason that is a support level is if we go back to December last year, we saw the share price decrease from about $1.12 back to 75 cents on lower volume. So again, that's fairly healthy. When they see a share price pull back on lowering volume, that means there's not a lot of sellers out there. So no one was interested in selling Lake Resources during that period. And then the share price pulled back, started to increase again of 75 cents. And share price did not fall through that. So that's a fairly, it's not a strong support level just because it's just based off the previous low we saw in the share price. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Lake Resources share price fall through 75 quite easy. The next support level is just above 62 cents, around 63 cents. And that's actually a stronger support level because if we go back to about August of last year, that's the share price high we did see after the run up in the share price. And then that high was tested about 2 times over the next few months. So it took a little bit of effort for Lake Resources share price to get above that resistance level. And then when it did get above that resistance level around there, so just there, if you can see my amounts, you can see the strength, the really healthy candlestick on that particular day in, say, mid-October. Not only that, it coincided with large volume. So that meant that breakout was a fairly successful, strong breakout. And that's why the share price rallied from that day. In fact, the share price then was about 63 cents all the way to about $1.12. So fairly significant increase in share price over a short period of time because of that particular breakout. So that is the next support level for Lake Resources, around about 63 cents. And then if the share price falls below that, the next support level is just below 50 cents. And that support level goes all the way back to February of 2021, which was the previous high we saw. And that's rally we saw in the share price just prior to that was on large volume of again. And then the share price was below that support level for about, we'll say 4 to 5 months before it broke through that support level again on strong volume. So again, volume is very important when it comes to a share price of a company breaking out. So 3 levels of support for Lake Resources: 75 cents, 63 cents, and around 49 cents. There is potential the share price could move lower just based off the share price movement over the past few trading days on high volume. And when I say high volume, if you look at the volume over the last 3 trading days, it is higher than the volume we've ever seen in this company, not ever seen, but the volume we've seen in this company over the past 18 months. Next company I want to talk about is Sayona. And the main reason I want to talk about Sayona is the chart actually does look really interesting, sort of like a mountain-like pattern. I've just made that up. There is no true technical mountain signal or anything like that, but it does look like a mountain. When you look at the candlesticks over the past, we'll say about 3 or 4 months, we saw a significant rise in the share price from 11 cents to a high of about 40 cents. And the share price has pulled back all the way to that original price of 11 cents. Not quite. Share price is now hovering around about 12.5 to 13.5 cents. So that initial hype that drove the share price higher, almost quadrupled in a very short period of time, has completely fallen away over the past few months. But 11 cents for Sayona is a strong support level, and Sayona's share price is just above that support level. So the share price does hit 11 cents. That could be a low risk opportunity for those who are interested in trading Sayona moving forward. So why is 11 cents a powerful support, or I wouldn't say powerful, a strong support level for Sayona? Well, it goes all the way back to July last year. We saw a bit of a run up in the share price. Share price got to 11 cents, and then we saw share price pull back from 11 cents to 7.5 cents. And then in early August, we saw some power, some strength come into Sayona. We saw the share price increasing on increasing volume. And in fact, it didn't take much for the share price to get above that 11 cents resistance level right here. You can see the strength in volume, really good volume coming in. And that strength, that increase in hype around Sayona drove the share price during the rest of August into September from 11 cents to 20 cents. And then it hit a bit of a snag. We saw decreasing volume during that period. And then from sort of September, mid-September, when we saw the share price reach 20 cents, all the way through to March this year, we saw the share price of Sayona just drift lower on decreasing volume or low volumes. So not a lot of interest in the market during that period of time for Sayona. But that lack of interest shifted in March of this year. You can see increasing volume as the share price started to increase. That's exactly what you want to see when share price is breaking out. As I've mentioned many times before, that shows you there is strength. There is participants in the market interested in the company, and that interest drove the share price from 11 cents or just above 11 cents all the way to a high of 40 cents. But sentiment has really shifted in this company when the share price reached that high in, say, mid or late April of this year, and that's why the share price has pulled back. The most important thing here is we have seen increasing volume during this pullback in the share price, but nothing massive. We haven't seen huge volume. In fact, over the past few weeks, volume has started to decrease, which is telling us that there is decreasing selling pressure. And I think one of the reasons there's decreasing selling pressure is because the share price is moving towards that solid support level. So what we want to see is the share price starting to increase again on strength, on increasing volume. Next company I want to look at is Magnis Technologies. And this particular chart goes all the way back to July 2020. So a 2-year chart here. The reason I want to go all the way back to July 2020 is because one of the very first videos I did on this channel was looking at Magnis Technologies. And the motivating force for me doing that video was because my nephew, who probably would have been 12 or 13 at the time, bought some shares in this company at around 9 cents during a rally in the share price. I think there was a bit of a shift in trend, shift in sentiment, and I don't know why he bought shares at 9 cents, but it was a really good time trade, taking advantage of that shift in trend and sentiment. And during that rally, the share price went from 7.5 cents to a high of about 26 cents in a fairly short period of time. So whenever you see share price of a company rise like that in a fairly quick period of time, it's very healthy and very natural for the share price to pull back. And the share price of Magnis then pulled back, and it took about, we'll say, 4 to 5 months for that pullback to come to an end. And the share price during that pullback just drifted lower and lower on fairly low volume, which is actually a fairly good sign. So there's not a lot of holders out there willing to sell their shares. And then we saw the really powerful breakout in the share price for Magnis in late January of 2021. We know it's powerful because the share price went from about 18 cents to a high of 42 cents in 3 trading days on massive volume. So obviously, the company released some good news to the market, and the market took advantage of that good news. But again, whenever you see a share price rise like that, you want to see a little bit of a pullback in the share price, particularly when you do see that pullback in the share price testing the old resistance level that now became support. So whenever the share price pulls through support, whenever the share price pulls through resistance, that resistance level then becomes support, and you would like to see the market try to test that support level. And the market actually tested that support level 5 times over a 4 to 5 month period. So it tested that 26 support level here in early March. Then in, say, June and July, it tested about 4 to 5 times over a very short period of time. And the test succeeded. So when I say the test succeeded, I mean the share price didn't fall through that support level on strength. That's very important. And then when we got to the start of August of last year, we saw increasing volume. The share price took off in a very short period of time. And then we saw the share price take off again in late October, early November. Share price went from 32 cents all the way to a high of 75 cents. But again, you see an exponential rise in share price. Naturally enough, you're going to see the share price pull back. It definitely pulled back. But we have seen a fair bit of weakness in Magnis Technology share price over the past few months. So if you go back to early April, share price reached a high of about 55 to 56 cents, and the share price has been going lower or moving lower ever since then. Current share price is just below 30 cents as we speak. But you'll notice from about February of this year all the way through to now, the volume in this company has been quite low. So again, there's not a lot of holders in this company willing to sell other shares. And that's why the share price is drifting lower. And one of the reasons why it's drifting lower on low volume is not only the investors in the company not willing to sell, there's not a lot of buyers out there willing to buy. But when the market sees the share price of Magnis Technologies moving towards that 26 cents support level that was tested on numerous occasions in 2021, I think we might see some volume coming in. So just look out for the share price of Magnis moving towards 26 cents. And if there is increasing volume or high volume coming in, that will tell us that the market is becoming interested in Magnis Technologies. And that is when we might see a bit of a rally in the share price of this company. As I started preparing for this video, I realized fairly early on that I was definitely going to include Core Lithium and Lake Resources because of the significant decrease in the share price in recent times. As I came looking at the charts for Sayona and Magnis, it became apparent that I need to include those two videos just because the share price is moving towards pretty powerful, strong support levels. But in these videos, I always like to look at least 5 companies, and I was struggling to come up with a 5th company. So I thought, because sometimes when I'm struggling to come up with an idea, I will go to Hot Copper and look at some resources there. And one of the resources you can look at is the best performing companies on a particular day, the worst performing companies on a particular day, and the most discussed lists of companies in the forums. And on June the 22nd, the 4 most popular companies on Hot Copper forums were Lake Resources, Sayona Mining, Core Lithium, and Magnis Technologies, the 4 companies I'll be featuring or did feature in this video. That was just a coincidence, but it's not surprising that those 4 companies are the most discussed companies or were the most discussed companies on this particular day. Lake Resources, by far the most discussed company at this point in time because the share price had decreased a significant amount in a very short period of time. And whenever you see a share price decrease a significant amount, it is going to be discussed on Hot Copper, particularly if it is a high popular company among retail investors, and Lake Resources fit into that. And it's not surprising to see Sayona, Core Lithium, and Magnis Energy Technologies featured in the most discussed list either, because these companies are very popular among retail investors. So I was trying to come up with another idea looking at the most discussed list. Spender Limited, I don't know much about that company. Tempest Minerals, well, I'm going to do a dedicated video on Tempest Minerals because I actually do dedicated videos with Tempest because of a breakout in the share price a few months ago. And on this particular day, Tempest Minerals share price increased something like 42% on no news from the company. And in fact, the company did receive a price and volume query. So I'm going to be talking about Tempest Minerals in a dedicated video in the next few days. Zipco, I'm not going to talk about that. Liontown Resources nearly made it into this video, but I thought I need to become a little bit more diverse in terms of what companies I'll be featuring in this video. And because Liontown Resources is a lithium play, electric vehicle play, I should decide upon another company. And then I came to Polynovo Limited. And this company has been popping up on a few of my filters in regards to the share price performance. So sometimes, on some days, it has been the best performing company on the ASX, particularly on those days where we have seen the ASX fall a certain amount. So there has been a little bit of increase in hype in Polynovo. So it's not surprising to see it on the most discussed list. So that was the final company I decided to feature in this video, Polynovo. Now, I'm going to have to admit that I am actually excited about Polynovo and their future. The one thing I'm not excited about is just the valuation of this company. Last time I looked, the market cap of Polynovo was something like 800 to 900 million, even though they are not profitable, not free cash flow positive. But the market has been excited about this company. And that excitement really started in late 2017. And this particular chart is the weekly chart going back to 2016. And when the excitement started in this company, share price was around about 20 cents, might have been even under 20 cents. And the share price has increased from the low of 20 cents all the way to a high of $4 over about a 3-year period. So that's a 20 bagger over a 3-year period. And for any investor, that is the sort of returns you want for any company in your portfolio. The only dip we saw during that period, that share price appreciation period, was during the March 20 COVID-19 financial panic, when the share price of this company fell from about $3.25 to $1.38. Now, that was not the absolute low during the COVID-19 financial panic, but that is the low I am using as a support level. And that support level was quite strong just because it was the COVID-19 low. And then we saw the share price move from that low to that high of $4, which was reached in late 2021. Late 2020, early 2021. The only negative thing I can see from the lows of March 20 to those highs in late 2021 was not a lot of volume. Particularly if we compare it to pre-COVID levels. So I would have liked to see more volume. And I think one of the dangers when you see a lack of volume, it's telling us there's not a lot of interest. Even though the share price is increasing, there was not a lot of interest during that time period. And it's not surprising to see the share price struggle after those highs. And the share price has continually fallen since then. Share price has decreased from $4 and it moved towards $1.38 in late 2021. So in 1 year, the share price moved from $4 to $1.38. And when the share price hit that support level of $1.38, which was those COVID-19 lows, the share price did rally, a very weak rally, but it did rally over the next few weeks. Share price remained above $1.38, that support level, over 5 to 6 weeks. But then in early 2022, share price fell through that support level. So that support level became resistance. And the share price fell in about 5 to 6 consecutive weeks. Share price went from $1.38 all the way to a low of about 86 cents. But we have seen a bit of a rally in the share price over the past 6 weeks. Share price has moved from 88 cents to $1.38. There was one particular week, share price rallied quite strongly on large volume. But over the past 5 weeks or so, we have seen that $1.38 resistance level. So remember, whenever a support level is broken, it then becomes resistance. So the market is testing that resistance level over the past 4 or 5 weeks. And those tests have been, in a way, successful because that resistance level has not been broken. So what I would like to see in the future with Polynovo is that $1.38 level, that resistance level, to be broken on strength. And again, on strength means high volume. Preferably, that strength and high volume coincides with some really good positive news from the company. So I will leave Polynovo on my watch list just to see if $1.38 can be broken in the future. That's all I have for this technical update on Core Lithium, Lake Resources, Sayona Mining, Magnis Technologies, and Polynovo. If you have some thoughts about any of these companies I've raised in this or featured in this video, I'd love to hear from you. If you have further insights, I'd love to hear from you as well, particularly those with different opinions or thoughts than my own. That's who I'd love to hear from. If you think I am wrong, I'd love to hear from you. Why am I wrong on a particular issue? And if you do have those thoughts and put it into the comment section of this video, I will listen or read those different opinions, because essentially how I become a better investor is to take on different opinions, go through those different opinions, and potentially I will change my mind. I'm open-minded enough to change my mind if something else makes more sense than I do. So I'd love to hear from you. If that is you right now, you think I am completely wrong, say it. Say it in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I am not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.